Now it's time for our weekly speaker spot. Each week, one member gets 8 minutes to share with the group further insights into their business or enlighten the group a little more about themselves. Members can also use this time to problem solve or seek assistance and advice from the group as a collective. The time is yours to use how you wish. This week, or today, our speaker is the amazing Claire Pemberton. Misty, over to you in your crown. Do you have the bio for Claire?
I do. I'll tell you a little bit about Claire. So, yes, we've got the wonderful Claire Pemberton here at Business at Breakfast 10 a.m. as our speaker today. So Claire is passionate. She's an education coach, an education and support coach. What is that? I hear you say. So Claire is passionate about supporting education, growth and achievement in others and has over 25 years of experience in successfully teaching, facilitating and coaching women, in particular women, to achieve success in their studies. Claire's aim is to inspire women to seek out education support, upskill and have confidence to invest in themselves and their education, regardless of their background or qualifications. Claire works with women in tertiary and higher education, TAFE, and those upskilling or training for the workforce, also for specialised colleges, you know, like life coaches go through a specialised college. Business coaches tend to, there's hospitality college in Sydney. So specialised colleges, she helps anyone that's working in that higher education department. If you're having trouble with essays and things like that and wondering why you're behind or worried about falling behind, Claire's your girl. So with that, Claire, you've got up to 8 minutes to tell us more about what you do. Do this at the 8-minute mark. And then that's up to you to wrap it up. If you're faster than that, we'll just ask you more questions. And
okay. That's fine. I'm happy with the questions. And thank you for that, Misty. Yeah, I am an education support coach. And I do sell to students who are struggling with their essays or academic work and basically are worried about falling behind. And I guess, why did I get into this? For me, I've been a teacher in high school, tertiary education training for well over 25 years. And I'm also an ICF accredited coach. So I wanted to bring together two worlds that had become very apparent to me in my years in the classroom. And that is a combination of technical skills training that lots of students need, but also coaching support work. And you very rarely get both of those things together. So technical skills will always get a student over the line with an assessment task. You can problem solve, you can break down an assessment, I can help them scaffold and structure. Coaching allows me to ask them many more questions and use coaching techniques. So when I'm working with the customer, I'm able to ask them, well, why do you keep missing the deadlines? What's preventing you from moving forward? Why are you here again? And why do you feel like you can't do this when you've had success in other aspects of your course or program, in other areas of your life? So over the years, it became a real tension for me in my job because you could either offer technical support to a student with very little coaching work because it's time consuming and you're under pressure, particularly in the school system. Or if you're a coach, you can do a lot of goal setting work, you can do a lot of NLP work. I certainly do a lot of NLP techniques, but I ultimately can't help them write their essay. I can't help them understand how a paragraph is structured. I can't navigate a library system with them or work out why their reading is, you know, taking them too long and they can't get pen to paper. So that's really where that came from. And that was really where the idea came from. So I left working in schools and I went to work in universities, and it was in the tertiary sector that it was really, really apparent, and particularly for women. So women coming into tertiary or higher education, at the point, up to the point of enrolment, there's lots of support. And then beyond that, there's often very little. You'll get academic triage support, you'll get some counselling, and equity support, but you don't get those two things that come together. So you get students that bounce around the system a lot, and you lose a lot of students because of retention, and achievement is very low because they tend to need both of those things. So I offer a variety of tools. So that includes workbooks, scaffolds, tip sheets, and I've produced a lot of ebooks that students and customers can buy as standalone. I do encourage people to buy resources and work with me in order to get a longer term sort of result. And my aim is that I don't see them again. My aim is that I'm able to help them with their technical skills, their paperwork, the things that they avoid, but also to help them with that mindset work as well, because a lot of their issues comes from that mindset. But I do see a lot of students attending other education environments, as Misty mentioned. So I do a lot of work with TAFEs, technical colleges. I do work with a lot of mature age students, particularly those who are returning to education or study or are upskilling. So, for example, I was recently working with an enrolled nurse who wanted to come back into the university system to become a registered nurse. Pay and promotion was pretty much driving that. And this particular customer had had years and years of life experience, paid experience on the job, but very, very little academic confidence. So that would be a good example. I have lots of teachers' aides who'd like to become fully fledged teachers. I have lots of young women who are returning to the workforce. And yeah, I bring together both of those things that they tend to struggle with. And I guess the reason I got into it was I come from a very humble background myself. I didn't get a lot of success in my educational journey when I was much younger. I came from a very broken and dysfunctional family. It was a very, very difficult world for me to navigate. So the thought of me going into teaching was, yeah, quite rare and quite unusual from the community that I came from. So I've always had this feeling that there is great talent and there is amazing intelligence out there. They just don't realise it. So I do also offer back my services for free to those who are attending community outreach centres. So I do a lot of work in the Indigenous support space in Australia, and I work a lot in women's groups. And I've also recently started to work with employment services. And that's particularly for women who are put into employment services onto education pathways. There's a lot of funding at the moment available for that in Australia. But again, at the point of enrolment is fine. And then after that, it can be quite challenging to keep those people onto those programs to ultimately achieve success. Yeah, so that part of my work is very, very important. And working with Indigenous Australians has been a great, great privilege of mine. So it's something that I really want to continue to do. Yeah, and that's really where I'm at. I'm very new to all this. I'm not unfamiliar with teaching or presenting, but definitely the business side is an area that I've never really worked in before. So yeah, so that's basically what I do. I'm happy to answer any questions or take any of your advice. And it's been a great privilege to get the opportunity to speak to you. And thanks for listening.
Excellent. Well done, Claire. You did that in 6 minutes. Well done, you. Stuart, you were the first person to put your hand up.
Absolutely. Well, a big fan and fantastic to hear you present, Claire. And all I can say is we had the pleasure of working with somebody who did not exactly what you did, but in a similar supportive role with people that were going through counselling training, because it's a complex subject, and because this individual had just years and years in the trade, so to speak, they could give study tips, and it was just invaluable to them, and actually coach through so many of these people where they were having a lot of people that weren't completing, were abandoning the course, and everything that you're talking about. This will help people achieve their goals. This is going to, and you support and nurture them. I think it's just absolutely brilliant, and so great to hear you present, and can't wait to see everything coming your way, and hang in there. Business is hard.
Thanks, Stuart.
Before I ask the next person, just quickly based off Stuart's, Claire, could you remind us again, how much does it cost to have a educational coaching type session with you if we're struggling, or we know a uni student that might be struggling? How much is it again?
Yeah, it's $40 for an hour. Yeah, so you get a full coaching session with me for $40, and you'll get lots of worksheets and resources that go with that. I'm not typically somebody that would Zoom and just chat at you it's very hands-on. Sometimes that's uncomfortable, but that's part of the problem. So they need to learn how to do the topic sentence. They need to learn how to put the paragraph together, and it can be quite uncomfortable for people for the first time, because they're kind of used to just getting the answer. So that's what it is. And that I have great success with it because I've been doing it for so long, but it is a skill. And a part of the unfamiliar part of study is that people think it's something they should just know. And I often say that education's just this, like, there's a lot of mystery and mystique behind it, but it's just a set of skills. And once you learn the skills, you can fly, you can go. So it's just about reaching as many people as I can to learn the technical skill, but understand that within them, they have the ability to do it. It's and maybe because I'm somebody that came from that background who didn't believe that myself. And so, it's, anyway, that was a long answer, Misty, but that's what it
$40 was the answer, but the other stuff was just good information. But $40 was the answer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Claire. All right, Heather, you got your hand up. Heather.
Oh, sorry. I was just chasing a mosquito out. Sorry, my apologies. That was great, Claire. Really succinct and beautiful presentation. And my question is, and you really answered it in what you said just before about being online, but do you do everything online, or do you do anything face-to-face, and whereabouts are you based?
Yeah, thank you. I do online and face-to-face. I'm based in Newcastle, which is 2 hours north of Sydney. Predominantly my work tends to be online on Zoom, and that's even for students that are quite close by, but I still do some outreach work with an Indigenous centre based at the university, so I do go out and do face-to-face work as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Stanley, you've got your hand up.
Thank you. Claire, great presentation. And my question has actually already been answered, which was how much is it? So thank you for that. I think that that's very, very great price, very affordable. In the past, I've paid, I had to really search hard to get anything less than $70 an hour for tutoring for my daughter, who's in high school. I found a uni student who was looking for extra cash, and I paid her $50 an hour, which was still a lot. It's great to know it's someone like yourself, makes it affordable for everybody, especially with all your many years experience. I'll definitely be calling on you next time my daughter needs some help with her math. So thank you for that.
All right. Yes, please do. That's just the price, I guess. That's what I'm comfortable with that. I think I do bear in mind my demographic. So I want to make it accessible for people. And I've got a lot of years of experience, and I'm happy to share it. I don't want to exclude people from that. You need to get access to the best. So,
I know, right? That's why I do the same thing, right? Access to the best is so much easier to just go that way. What a good line.
That's right.
Excellent. Thank you, Claire. Diane, you had your hand up for a moment and then no?
It was answered. So that's why I put my hand down. It was basically where you're based and do you do Zoom? So yes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Joe. I'm going to let you keep going. Thank you, Claire, for being our speaker today, and thank you, audience, for participating and asking some questions. Sometimes when you leave the meeting, you'll be thinking about what Claire had said, and something will come to you and you go, oh, why didn't I think of it then? So when you have extra questions, Claire's details are in the chat box, and she's easily accessible and available for one-to-ones as well. So call her for a one-to-one, find out more, swap stories about each other, and you'll be able to ask her more questions through a one-to-one as well.